On today's show, a major smart TV manufacturer takes back a frightening tweet just moments after telling owners to run a virus check on their television. I'll tell you what's really going on behind this disturbing PSA. And gather your goats, Jurassic Park has come to augmented reality in a big way, and the results are dynamite. Plus, I speak with a Google engineer who made the Google smart speaker accessible to those who can't speak or see. It's truly an amazing project that hits close to home. And finally, in my DIY security tip, you don't need to be Agent 007 to know how to spot different types of spy cameras that could be watching you. I'll give you all the top secret information that you need to know to keep you and your loved ones' privacy safe. All this plus more digital know-how and, of course, your phone calls here on Komando. Let's talk about the trillion-dollar tech company, Microsoft. Now, over the years, they have made some mistakes. Windows 8, Microsoft Bob, the annoying Clippy, the Zune that was supposed to squash the iPod along with Groove Music to kill iTunes, and Web TV. Do you remember the Microsoft Smart Speaker and Smart Band? Yeah, no one else does either. Microsoft co-founder Bill Gates recently said his greatest mistake was none of that. It was losing to Android that Google purchased back in 2005. When Apple went all in on mobile with iPods and later iPhones, you would have thought that Microsoft would do the same thing too. Okay, they did try with Windows Mobile and a few phones which were eventually put out of their misery. Microsoft's loss ended up to be a $400 billion mistake. Let me put that into perspective. Android has about 2 billion active monthly users. Take a guess now. How many active monthly users does Windows have? Less than half, about 800 million. And back in 2007, then CEO Steve Ballmer laughed at the iPhone, saying business types wouldn't want something without a keyboard. Hopefully, he's better at owning a basketball team. But Microsoft is still doing just fine in the financial world. How good? An investment research platform took a look at commonly owned stocks. What they found is that 1 in 4 investment portfolios around the globe includes Microsoft stock. eVestment's data comes from the first quarter of this year, saying that tech stocks make up 6 of the top 10 spots on the list. Google's parent company, Alphabet, comes in second, with Apple at third. Amazon, number 8 on the list. So Microsoft has topped Google, at least as far as investments go. But it's not by much. Microsoft makes up about 24% of commonly owned stock, while Google's close behind at nearly 22%. Microsoft's search site Bing turned 10 last May, and Google is still kicking Microsoft's butt there. I do admit to using Bing once. All right, I was in an experimental stage. A few years ago, I was voted by Fortune magazine one of the 100 most influential women in America. It was kind of a big deal. I did a keynote speech there, and the woman who was going to introduce me asked me if I wanted to see her PowerPoint presentation that she was going to show later on in the day. I said, sure. And 133 slides later, I was convinced she was the smartest woman I knew. That woman was Mary Meeker. And every year since 1995, Mary Meeker makes a presentation called Internet Trends, where she highlights the state of the web, where it's going, what's hot, and what's not. And she's spot on every single year. She says that about 25% of adults consider themselves online almost constantly, but that number skyrockets to 39% for adults between the ages of 18 to 29. The average adult spends 6.3 hours every day with digital media, and about half of that time on a mobile device. And if you're trying to sell anything online, you really should read her report. One thing you need now is a free trial. Without it, you're probably not going to make it. Mary details why and how. She also says about 47 million people have installed Amazon Echoes, a number that doubled over the previous year. And no doubt, Alexa is listening to that. All right, part of owning computers, smartphones, and tablets is keeping them clear of viruses. That's the way it's always been. They aren't just limited to those staples of tech any longer. Samsung recently tweeted, then deleted for some crazy reason, a post that says if you own one of their smart TVs, you ought to run a virus check on it. Yes, malware has a new target, the Internet of Things, and it's going after your cameras, appliances, microwave, well, anything that's smart. And Samsung's latest smart TV runs on its proprietary operating system, Tizen, and comes preloaded with McAfee's antivirus software. At its core, a smart TV is simply a great display with a computer that uses the internet and runs apps. Naturally, it's susceptible to hackers and malware, and so are your other internet-connected gadgets, from your cams to your smart oven. So what can you do? Run the security software and keep your gadgets updated. change any default passwords, and only download apps from reputable sources and check reviews beforehand. Remember, just because your gadget is smart, you can't be dumb using it. And finally, just this year, all kinds of new features have been added to Google Maps, including speed limits and how crowded your bus or train might be. But no matter how advanced navigation apps keep getting, they can still lead you into trouble. Listen to this. When a car crash recently happened in Aurora, Colorado, the trusty Google Maps app quickly alerted area drivers to take a detour in order to get to Denver's International Airport. They were detoured, all right. Google Maps rerouted drivers to a one-way dirt road. That was the first red flag. The second, it had been raining, and recently that dirt road, well, it was a muddy mess. So while drivers using Google Maps were trying to get around the accident, they ended up in a massive traffic jam of their own, stuck on a muddy road with no way to turn around. And it wasn't just a few cars. Try about 100 of them. Google might know the best way to your data, but not always the best route for your trip. So today's tech lesson, you have to trust your own eyes. All right, the Kim Komando Radio Show is the nation's largest show about everything digital. You can find us on 400 top stations from coast to coast and around the globe on American Forces Network Radio. And a big part of the radio show, well, it's you, the callers. And in our call screening man cave week after week is our very own Andrew Babinski. Yay!
Hello, Kim.
Hi, Andrew. What's going on?
Have you ever had, let's say in the middle of the night,
Yes.
or in middle of the morning, a craving for a Slurpee? Think real hard.
I probably haven't, but I bet some of our viewers and listeners have.
They're now going to deliver.
A Slurpee?
7-Eleven.
No, wait.
Yes, they're going to deliver. The Slurpees,
How much is a Slurpee?
I don't know, $1.80?
And then delivery is like, what is it, 15
I don't
bucks?
know, $80.
Yes.
They're going to deliver foods. So, you know, those hot dogs that are on the rollers.
Oh, those always look
Right
so
to
good.
your door. But the important thing they're missing out is booze. They need to be able to deliver the booze, not just yet.
No.
Major cities, 7-Eleven is now delivering.
That's crazy stuff. I mean, you can get anything delivered.
It's crazy.
Anything. Well, we have a really fantastic show for you with another look into the future on tomorrow's Tech Today. And in our DIY security tip, you're going to love this. Hidden spy cameras that look like regular wall outlets. You're not going to want to miss. And of course, your phone calls next here on Komando. You can Google anything, but to get my trusted advice, there's only one place to go. Visit my website, komando.com. Whenever you need a digital hand, I'm right there for you. You know, every once in a while, I run across a story that really shows the power of technology and how it can totally transform a person's life. And it's been said that 1 out of 5 war veterans from Iraq or Afghanistan, when they come back, they're suffering from post-traumatic stress syndrome. But can computers and can virtual reality actually step in and make a total difference in this person's lives? Well, joining us is Marine Chris Markle. Hello there, Chris.
Hey, how you doing, Kim?
Thanks for joining us, number one. And tell us about your service.
So I served in the Marine Corps out of Camp Pendleton for about 14 years, deployed multiple times to both theaters, Iraq and Afghanistan, with the Marine Corps, State Department, Department of Defense. So I was pretty busy most of that time.
Well, I'll say, and that's a long time to be deployed, huh?
Yes, it was.
Because, I always say it's not just you that gets deployed, your whole family gets deployed.
Yes, and that's a major piece of our family having to go through the symptoms that we bring home and having to adjust to. There's a big welcome home party, and it's like, hey, you're not the same person who left, and that's what we're trying to address.
How does a person change?
Well, we all evolve over time, right? But we need that catalyst. So with post-traumatic stress, usually the VA recommends evidence-based therapy, which is psychotherapy. The problem that a lot of us veterans have is, we're all volunteer service. We want to help each other or help other people. We're not very good about asking for help ourselves. So virtual reality therapy was a way for me to immerse myself in that world, and it was a soft entry into it, even though it sounds kind of scary being immersed in one of your days that you had a hard time in. But it's that narrative process of speaking my truth of what happened that day and then physically and emotionally surviving it and then just going through it over and again to kind of normalize the situation. Because
when you go through something that traumatic, you want to just try to forget about it, right? And move on. And you're this big, strong Marine. You ought to be able to just keep on going, right?
Right, and that's the problem. The stigma, that big, strong Marine, male, female, whatever service, is we have to start helping ourselves. Once our service is over, it's a disservice to our families to not want to help So like today, we're out here for a homeless veteran standout. We have to keep giving back to each other.
Okay, so with virtual reality, you actually step back into that particular situation that is causing you the most stress. That must be really frightening.
It is actually very frightening, but I mean, it's all clinician based. So the clinician works with you, make sure that you're okay. They walk through the scenario in generality. So it's nothing, there's nothing flashing on the screen. There's nothing normal. It's your own narrative. And the virtual reality just assists in that process, creates a visual world, which you've already experienced, but in a safe space with a therapist right there. So when you're in virtual reality, it's all real time. Now I'm getting engaged. Now I'm engaging back. Now I'm seeing this. Now I'm feeling that. And that helps the process so much better.
So what were you feeling when you stepped back into it in a VR situation?
The first time, obviously, I was a little apprehensive. You know, going back to the day I've never discussed, because a big thing with post-traumatic stress, once you get the therapy, is avoidance. So I was a little avoidant and resistant to actually going to do the therapy and actually talking about my worst day. But the VA was very supportive. They were right there with me. And having that clinician walk with me side by side, kind of with my journey, was so effective towards my treatment.
And afterwards, did you feel a sense of relief, accomplishment? What was that?
I think it was actually all of the above. So it was, when I got done with it, the first time I apologized to the clinician, like, I'm sorry, I only did that 5-6 times. He's like, no, you just talked about the worst day of your life, pretty much. Yeah. That you haven't talked about for 10 years. You just went through it 8 times in a row, which is huge for something that, you know, you suppress, you avoid because of PTS. So it's a great opportunity to help veterans out there.
And then did you feel afterwards like a sense of relief? Was it,
yes.
I mean, was it like this load that was lifted off of your shoulders?
Yes, all of the above. So yeah, we literally carry that weight on our shoulders. That's what a lot of us have, that somatic stress. So my tense shoulders, headaches, irritable bowel syndrome, all those things are my body trying to get that traumatic stress out. And so once I actually got it out of my system, you could physically feel it. I was a little nauseous. Everybody's different, but I just kind of felt so disorientated because I was letting all that out. All that bad emotion, all those 10, 15 years of feeling it was my fault, or I could have done something, or whatever it is. For me specifically, it was just that being overwhelmed sensory of seeing and smelling and being immersed in a war and actually saying, I could probably die today, because it was a really intense day.
Talk to us a little bit about the VR. How realistic is it?
Okay, so the virtual reality itself isn't too realistic, because I can't create a movie, like I said, that car crash. I can't create the perfect movie, because your mind will see the difference. So it's almost cartoon-like. So they put the scenario, Iraq, Afghanistan, driving, patrol, where you're at in the vehicle. And then as soon as you start talking, your mind automatically fills in those blanks, and it becomes where you were. So it's an amazing process. They could control the atmosphere. Now Dr. Skip Rizzo, the one who's the main I've been working with, they're adding the olfactory. So now it's going to have that smell of the burning car, diesel fumes. Yeah, it's going to be, it hits you on all senses, and you're in that moment. So seeing it in my mind, I was like, oh, I'm here. I'm feeling it. And so I'm walking through processing it real time. It's almost like being in the middle of combat and have a therapist sit right next to you like, yep, this is what I'm feeling like. It's so powerful.
That is something. I'm so glad that you joined us and you told us all about this.
Well, thank you so much.
You know, we have so many listeners on the American Forces Radio Network because, you know, we've been a big supporter of the military for so many years.
Yes, you have.
And
yeah, we appreciate it.
Thank you. And thank you for your service, really. Thank you. Because of people like you, because of your sacrifices, you've allowed all of us to live in freedom. And it really makes a difference. And we do all thank you here at the Kim Komando Show and for sharing your story.
Thank you so much.
Now, Chris, if somebody wants to learn more information about this, how do they do it?
So right now we're working with Brave Mind is going to be powered by Soldier Strong. So Soldier Strong would be the main link right now that I would recommend. We're raising money. We're going to donate, and we're going to take all those units. We're going to donate them to 10 different VAs throughout America. Soldier Strong is the actual title, and actually have a new brand, Strong Mind, which is going to have all the links to actual virtual reality, where you can get the treatments at, and links to providers that can help you, you know, in the interim. So there are virtual reality units throughout the various VAs in America, and they can connect you to those services. So it's just the hard part is just that first step in saying, yeah, I need help. And that's what we need, if not for ourselves, for our families, because they've waited for us. Yes. And like you said, we fought for our freedom, but that shouldn't be our whole story. We should be able to move forward and give back, and, you know, have the great Independence Day that, you know, people like, you know, you have supported us. So we really appreciate, you know, the Kim Komando Show and everything else. I listened to AFN Armed Forces Network when I was downrange, so I love listening to you guys.
Well, here's what I'd like to do, is that I'd like to contribute.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
And I'd like to help you guys get some VR units out to where you need to get them. So you can count on my donations.
Thank you so much.
I'm happy to do it. And for all of our listeners and viewers of the Kim Komando Show, Chris, once again, thank you for joining us. If you want to learn more about this program, just hit the website. Head over to komando.com. That's komando.com, of course. And in that Show Picks button, we'll have all the links that you need. And if you have an inspiring story, use of technology that's unique that you'd like to share with us, I'd love to hear from you. Just again, head over to the website. At the bottom of every single page, there's a link that says Contact Us. So what's going on with our phone calls?
We have Sherry. She's in Kansas.
Can you sing it?
Sherry, Sherry, baby. She has twins.
Okay, that's enough.
Twins in Kansas. Okay. And
Twins in Kansas.
They are both going to college.
Yes.
One is going to go to business school. And at business school, he is not allowed to have an Apple. It's got to be a professional Windows Microsoft computer.
Okay.
The other is going to Arizona State University. So he needs a durable Mac.
Hi, Sherry. Welcome.
Thank you very much.
Okay, so now I was on vacation, but I was following Frankie's Instagram account.
Yes.
And Frankie works in our production department, and he's also a bigwig at ASU. I don't know if he told you that.
He's been tremendous. He's been such a help for my son.
So what happened?
I sent in my questions because I do have two questions. I knew that you'd be the perfect person to ask. So I sent them in, and I mentioned in one of the questions that Ryan will be attending Cronkite School of Journalism at ASU. And I get an email from this wonderful young man who says, I know exactly what you need. Well, it just so happens, on top of it, we were out there a week ago today for orientation.
Oh, my gosh, what a coincidence.
So he said, well, while you're out here, do you want to come see the studio? So Ryan, because he is very interested in broadcasting, walked around your studio with his mouth completely open, and we had to keep picking up his chin because he was so incredibly impressed by the whole layout. Frankie was able to tell my husband and I exactly what kind of computer Ryan needs.
Oh, well, that's good. That's it.
Well, it's great except for what he told me.
What? It's like $1,800.
Oh, it's more than that, I think.
Frankie, did you do that?
But that did play into my second question for you.
Okay. And so because you have twins, and
exactly,
and so you got one going to ASU, and where's the other guy going?
The other guy's going to Indiana University.
So so for the Indiana guy, I'd probably look at like something like an HP Spectra. They're about $700.
Okay.
And they're going on sale Apple Prime Day. As far as with Apple, you can save some bucks if you buy refurbished. Yeah. Don't buy it anywhere else but apple.com. So you can go to apple.com, you hit refurbished. That's where you can maybe save 15%. You're not going to save a whole bunch, but it does come with a complete warranty and guarantee. I'm so glad that you guys came to see the studios, and tell your son, if once he's at Walter Cronkite, we do have an internship program. He's always welcome to apply for it. I'd love to have him on board with us.
Recently, Kim Komando has whipped me on Brand New or Not True. Will she give me a chance to save face? I hope. Next on Komando.
If you like our TV show, you're going to love our radio show. Get all 3 hours on your time. Just go to getkim.com. That's getkim.com. All right, for those of you who've been keeping track, we've been playing Brand New or Not True. And, did I win last week?
I hope someone was keeping track, because I definitely wasn't.
I think we even have a little video. There's Kim with confetti, and Andrew just fell into the dust right there. Because it's 7, right?
Yes, we did a best out of 13. You had 7, and I guess I had 5. I did better than I thought. So it was really close.
It was very close.
Anybody's game.
Almost anybody's game.
Well, it's your game, but it could have been anyone's.
So because I got some pushback that maybe it wasn't fair, that I had to drive a Nissan, and you had to go and overcome your greatest fear of getting into a small plane. Maybe it was a little one-sided.
Maybe. Just a bit.
So I thought, if you play Brand New or Not True again,
right,
is that we're going to give you 2 other options. Number 1, as we mentioned, we're going to wrap your car with your most favorite team, the Dallas Cowboys.
Boo.
Okay. Or you're going to stand out front of the building, the studios here on 7th Street, very busy street, and flip signs. Now, are you afraid of signs?
I'm not.
Are you afraid of anything? I mean, does any of this bother you?
I'm good to go when it comes to signs.
And the Dallas Cowboys?
I mean, I hate them, but I could deal with a punishment like that.
Okay, so brand new or not true. Are you ready?
So here's the thing. If I win, I get to pick one of those two punishments. If I lose, you get to pick one of those two punishments.
Correct.
All right.
All right, number one. Andrew, are you ready?
I'm ready.
You don't talk to it, you don't swipe it, you don't unlock it. You just push a button. It's called the Swedish smart button. It's called the flick. Because we all have different routines when we wake up in the morning, how we get to work, or how we structure our day. So instead of actually talking to something, you'll have a button and you'll touch the button. And that's where you can say, set the lights for coming and going, making the coffee. It's conveniently placed next to a light switch. So if you have repetitive routines that instead of actually saying something, you can push a button and everything will happen.
So it's like a home assistant, but instead of talking to it in different commands, it does one command when you hit the button.
Well, you can hit it like if it's one press, if you hit it like 3 times, it does something else.
Oh, okay. That's pretty smart.
Okay. Number 2 is the Chatterbox. It's the first build-it-yourself, program-it-yourself smart speaker kit for kids that puts privacy first. Think of it like an Amazon Alexa or Siri, but one focused on privacy that kids can build and program to bring their creativity to life. It's the only smart speaker kit easy enough for kids to build. It's powered by a Raspberry Pi. Also has a kid-friendly app that empowers kids, they say, to have life like Lego connecting blocks. Finally, the Aduri, the world's first multi-sensory meditational cushion. So when you want to meditate, you fire up the app and you sit on this cushion. Sessions are intelligently customized wherever you are in your meditational journey. It's a proprietary multi-sensory system that integrates both of our original meditational content and your personal biometrics. So as you're meditating, you sit on the cushion, and then the cushion vibrates, the cushion lights up, and the cushion is $49.99.
All right. That's the first one I'm deleting. Chatterbox seems to be a legitimate product. The first one I think could be, but I think you made it up. So I'm saying Chatterbox is the true, real product.
Okay, final answer?
Final answer.
Okay, let's ask our judges.
Yes! Victory.
Okay, well, victory's yours. Okay, but can I have a confession?
Sure.
Okay. Product number 1
Yes.
is a real product.
So they were all real?
Product number 2, that's why you saw great videos, is a real product. Product number 3 is also a real product.
What the heck?
Okay, so you won.
I did, because they're all the right answer.
Okay, I'm hoping that all this bad PR is going to go off my back right now. Because people are going to say, look at how kind and gentle and giving Kim Komando is.
So I get to choose?
Yes.
There's no way I'm putting a Dallas Cowboys star on any vehicle that I own. I will flip signs for days as my punishment.
Okay, well, thank you for playing Brand New or Not True. Now, we do have a new type of game that we're going to be playing in a couple of weeks.
Okay.
I don't want to talk about it, but it's kind of like Brand New or Not True, but it's you and me together as a team, and then we are playing against everybody else.
Well, with you on my team, I'm going to go undefeated.
Exactly, yes. Pull over to the side, Tesla. There's a new electric car that's about to hit the market that'll drive further and longer than any other vehicle before. I'm going to tell you how next on Komando. How'd you like to have a car that you could drive more than 10,000 miles without ever having to gas it up or charge it? Yes, I said 10,000 miles. It's real. A Dutch automaker called Lightyear just unveiled a car that's powered by the sun through solar panels installed on the roof. The company says the free solar energy will stack up to about 12,400 miles a year. Even without a full tank of solar energy, it's got a battery that'll last about 450 miles on its own. The solar energy may be free, but the car certainly isn't. If you want to get your hands on one, the first Lightyear One Solar car is going to set you back about $170,000. The company is only producing 500 of them to start, and about 100 are already spoken for. I'll tell you one thing, this Lightyear is creating quite the buzz. All right, augmented reality is big, and it's only going to get bigger over time. Everyone's talking about the new Harry Potter AR game, but I want to tell you about another hit. The Jurassic Park franchise keeps raking in big bucks. The first movie based on the Michael Crichton novel debuted back in 1993. and has seen since 4 sequels with more planned. The $5 billion franchise also spawned a successful mobile game called Jurassic World Alive. And basically, users unlock dinosaurs and battle with other players through augmented reality. It's free to download, but as most games these days, there are in-app purchases meant to nickel and dime you to death. There is a feature called Sanctuaries where you interact with your pet dinosaurs. And since it's AR, you don't have to worry about, say, getting eaten. Spoiler alert, it doesn't end any better for the goats in this game than it does in the movies. And speaking of dinosaurs, there's a theory floating around that the evolution of humans is happening right now. And think about what we do. Hunching over our phones or staring at our screens while sitting with bad posture is causing problems with our necks, spines, muscles. And have you ever heard of something called text claw? Well, you know how they used to say, if you keep making that face, it'll get stuck like that? This is kind of the same thing, but deals with your smartphone. Basically, if you hold it all the time, your hand could get stuck that way. Then there's tech neck, which is a condition where your neck muscles work extra hard to keep your head in position while you're staring down at your phone. And a group of Australian researchers said people are growing tiny horns on the back of their skulls because all that hunching over their phones. Now, not too many people are buying that, though. Next thing we know, our arms will be growing longer because of, hey, we're taking all these selfies. All right, the all-time classic board game Monopoly is getting a total makeover with artificial intelligence. They have cashless versions of the game already, but this is totally different. Think about it. Someone always has to be the banker, but the banker is flawed. They can make mistakes or even cheat. Well, not anymore. The new Monopoly banker will handle those relationship-straining deals with its own smart voice assistant. Now, when it's your turn, all you do is tap a button, say who you are, and what you want to buy or build. Buy Park Place or build a hotel, that's it. AI takes it from there. Rich Uncle Pennybags is the voice of the virtual assistant, or now known as Mr. Monopoly. No more counting money or accusations of shady money practices because AI would never lie, right? At the very least, family members won't have to fight over cheating at Monopoly anymore. Now they can get back to their endless arguments about politics. I'm waiting for the millennial Monopoly game where everyone wins and no one gets their feelings hurt. All right, coming up, I'm going to speak with a Google engineer who gave a voice to those who cannot speak. For some, his inspiration might hit close to home. Next, here on Komando. When you think of technology, smart technology, you have smart speakers, smart televisions, appliances, even, well, heck, there's a smart microwave oven nowadays. But what about for folks who have disabilities? Can they really utilize all the power of technology and the internet to, say, just watch a movie or play some music? Well, that's where Lorenzo Gaggioni comes in. And Lorenzo's joining us from Milan, Italy, because I read a story about Lorenzo and this incredible feat that he did for his brother Giovanni. And I couldn't wait to get Lorenzo here so we could talk to you. Welcome, Lorenzo.
Hi, Kim. Thanks for having me.
And so you have a brother with disabilities, and you are a Google software cloud engineer. And so you were able to put together this incredible package that gives your brother some freedom to do what he wants to do. Can you tell us a little bit first about your brother?
Yes, my brother was born on 1997 with congenital cataracts, and he is affected by Down syndromes. And now, today, he's non-verbal, and he is blind, legally blind. And yeah, the idea comes from the desire to help him gain more autonomy on simple daily tasks like the one you mentioned, play a movie on the TV or listen to music.
And so you got together with your really smart folks at Google there in Italy, and you worked with Google Home to give Giovanni some independence. And how did that all get started?
Yeah, it got started with some initial prototype. We started prototyping some ideas that was based on some Raspberry Pis, are small computers that you can program, just to validate the idea that with technology we was able to help Giovanni gain autonomy. So, but those devices was not the one that other people in the family and Giovanni's friends was using to consume music or watch a TV. So I shared this desire with my colleagues at Google, and we started to analyze the problem. And we identified two existing ecosystems. On one side, we saw the Google Home ecosystem, and a product that lets user fulfill their intents using their voice. For example, I can ask to Google Assistant to listen to my favorite music, and the music will start. But what about the people that are non-verbal, like my brother? So we started to identify the devices that my brother was using, and we identify another ecosystem for assistive buttons. And those buttons usually come with a 3.5 millimeter jack to let people connect those assistive buttons to the computer or to the smartphone and so on. So what we created is a simple gateway between the two ecosystems that accept a 3.5 millimeter jack on one side, and as soon as he get the signal from the button, he send a Bluetooth message to the Google Home.
Wow.
So you can configure any command that you usually ask to the Google Home, and you can associate the command to each small device. And every time that Giovanni will press the button, the same command will be sent to the Google Home.
Well, I saw a video where he was super excited about, well, first of all, I saw the video with him on your bike, which I thought was really cool, going through the Italian countryside. And the huge smile on his face, gosh, it just warms my heart, really, truly. And then when you were talking about Project Diva, which is the name of this whole thing, and then he was able to touch the red button and play his music. What did that feel like for you the first time that you were able to provide this to your brother?
I was really happy because sometimes I think that the hard communication between myself and my brother, it's a limitation on my side. I'm not able to understand Giovanni and what Giovanni want to do or want to say or want to listen. So when I saw Giovanni pressing the button and starting the cartoon he likes on the TV, I understood that at that moment of the day, he wanted to watch the cartoon on the TV. And this makes the solution not just accessible, because Giovanni is able to fulfill a task by himself, but it's also inclusive because it lets Giovanni use the same devices and services other people in the family are using. And the most boom moment I had with Giovanni was when my kids was watching the TV at my parents' house. And Giovanni was finishing dinner, and he stand up, went next to the TV and pressed the button and start to smile because he already knew that the cartoon will start and will change the cartoon on the TV. And in this way, also, my kids was able to understand that now it's Giovanni's time.
Right.
And he want to watch his cartoon.
So what do you think is what do you think is next for Google Home and Giovanni? What are you working on now?
Yeah, the project was launched at Google I/O, and we shared the project at the study level. So it's still a prototype, and we are collecting a lot of feedback and comments on the project to better identify the right go-to-market strategy. We started with buttons because the button was the way therapist and doctor was using with Giovanni to teach him things. But we think that there's many other non-verbal way to trigger commands to the Google Assistant. For example, we are experimenting with RFID tags. So instead of having buttons and instead of having commands associated to different buttons, you may have commands associated to different RFID tags, and then you can put the RFID tags inside the physical object. So Giovanni or other people may identify the object associated to the command and trigger the command putting the physical object next to the reader. For example, you can have a Nemo puppet triggering Finding Nemo on the TV, Sullivan, Monster & Co., and so on.
You know, that is so cool. It's so amazing. Thank you for sharing your story with us and all of our listeners and viewers of the TV show. And what we're going to do is, if it's okay with you, I'd like to post your video on our website because I really think that people can learn more about it. And will you do us a favor and keep us posted on your progress and what you're doing? Because I have a feeling that you're just on the cusp of really making this amazing discovery because you're just at the foundation level, and you know technology and as well as I do that, you know, quite often you start here, but then you end up at a totally different place. Well, Lorenzo, once again, thank you for joining us. And you see, folks, this is an example of the stories that I love when I sit here and I host our television and radio show because, you know, technology really touches our lives on so many levels. And if you have a story that you'd like to share with us, head over to the website, go to komando.com, and at the bottom of every single page, there's a link that says Contact Us. Have you ever gotten the feeling that you're being watched? Well, in my DIY security tip, I'm going to tell you about spy cameras that are disguised as things you'd least expect. Next, here on Komando. Every week we put together a digital life hack tip, and it's all designed to make things easier to answer some probing questions that you might have. And I've noticed in my inbox that a lot of folks are wondering, like, what is the best browser to use? Because let's just face it, you got a lot of choices. You got Internet Explorer, you got Edge, Safari, Chrome, Firefox, and the list goes on. There's more. So over at komando.com, we've decided to do the research. And we found that 48% of our readers say that they use Google Chrome. And this trend is reflected across the internet at large. Now, what's good about Chrome is that it gives you the ability to sign in with your Google account. You get this personalized experience. This will make search results for web and video a lot more relevant to your browsing history. Chrome is notorious, though, I will tell you, as a resource hog. It can slow your computer down if you have too many tabs open, so you want to make sure that you close those. And the perks of having your Google account connected to your browser, it can turn into a downside if you are truly privacy-minded. All right, if you have safety in mind, Mozilla Firefox is what you want to check out. It's begun automatically blocking third-party cookies by default. It has an experimental feature that will automatically notify you if you visit a website that's been hit by a data breach. And it has a private browsing mode, what that does is it blocks website tracking as well. So we covered the popular ones, the safety. What about the default choices? These just come on your system. I'm talking about Microsoft Edge and Apple Safari. You know, really good browsers. If you are running Windows 10, you definitely want to use Edge. We give an honorable mention to the Tor browser. I don't know if any of you have heard about that. That allows you to browse anonymously. And a lot of folks use it who are living under repressive governments. They turn to it. You can install it on a covert USB stick and then use it on public computers. And then, of course, there's mobile browsers. And we're going to give a dishonorable mention to Internet Explorer. So which browser is the best overall? If you're looking for flexibility and if you're a Google user, Chrome. If you're looking for safety and privacy, probably Mozilla Firefox. If you like the default browser, say that comes with your system, that's really great. And the Tor browser, and then also I did mention briefly mobile browsers, and we've got a whole section in this tip about that you don't want to miss. So to learn more and get all the links you need, look no further than the official homepage of the Kim Komando Show. That's komando.com, of course. And when you're there, hit that Show Picks button right on the homepage. It's time now for our DIY security tip of the week. And every week we put one of these together for you. And I thought with so many folks now going on to Verbos and Airbnbs and other rental properties that, we always start seeing the news about hidden spy cameras. I mean, what's going on? So I thought it'd be interesting for us to actually point some out to you so you can know what they look like. I mean, Let me tell you, for example, there are the electrical outlet spy cameras. They look like a real electrical outlet. I mean, they can be placed anywhere. There are a lot of holes where a tiny camera can be inserted. And what makes them so ingenious that some models can actually operate as outlets if you're willing to spend a little bit more. And they do work. And if the outlets work, you might not think to yourself, well, I think there's a hidden spy camera there. There could be a spy cam and a smoke detector. These are also very popular. We're all used to seeing smoke detectors on the ceiling. But in a good smoke detector spy camera, what it does, it uses a wide-angle lens. This, combined with an elevated placement, actually gives full room surveillance and maximum privacy invasion. What's up next? Your alarm clock might be watching you. They look just like an alarm clock. They work like a real alarm clock. They've got knobs and sensors and labels, but they also might have pinholes for spy cams. Some models can even shoot in low light conditions and then loop the recordings on a large capacity micro SD card. And that means that the clock radio spy cam can record all day and it can record all night. We talked about wall outlets. What about cell phone chargers? Yeah, that's a place for a hidden spy cam too. And the USB is fully functional. The camera in this device is high res and also has a motion detector. And as soon as it detects motion, obviously it starts recording. And then you can also have other things that are spy cams. Like, would you believe a fake can of Comet or a fake can of SpaghettiOs, a fire extinguisher? There are fake cans of WD-40 as well. So we have more information about this as well as examples so you can see what they look like over at Komando.com. And to check it out, look no further than the official homepage of the Kim Komando Show. That's, of course, Komando.com. And once you're there, hit that Show Pics button right on the homepage.
Standby control. Hey.
Have you ever had a conversation and then suddenly you start seeing ads for the very thing you were talking about online? Is that on purpose or is it a coincidence? The answer will surprise you. Next, here on Komando. Has this ever happened to you? You're talking about something with a friend and suddenly you start seeing ads online for the very thing that you mentioned. Just the other day, I was telling my son that a friend and I had lunch and we were thinking about going hiking in Patagonia. I opened up my laptop and bam, there they were. Ads for a hiking in Patagonia. The CEO of the Facebook-owned social media platform Instagram, Adam Mosseri, said in a recent interview with CBS's Gayle King that they do not target ads based on our conversations. He claims that if you see an ad for something you spoke about, it's, quote, dumb luck. He also proposed that maybe you forgot that you had been searching for that very thing or something like it, and you started talking about it because you already searched for it. Are you buying any of this? Me neither. It's not like big tech social media companies haven't lied to us before. This dumb luck sure happens to a lot of people. If only winning the lottery was so easy. Hey, keep your digital know-how going. Find your local radio station that broadcasts my show, along with more DIY tips, videos, free newsletters delivered from me to your email address, and ebooks on our website. That's Komando.com, and thanks for watching. Hey, thanks for watching. Now, a few things. Don't forget to click the like button and also subscribe to our YouTube channel. And for more digital know-how, check out all these other great links.